Hey, good morning, Susan and Dana, Justice Warriors. How are you guys? I am so happy to be back and I'm so happy to see you here. Goodness, it was a long weekend. I have not taken a break like that in a while. So it was good to take a break, but man, I miss you guys when I do that. Just a day off is rough. So how's everybody doing? It's Monday morning, and Mondays can be rough. Personally, I kind of like them. Get my structure back, get back on my routine. Um, wow, where to begin? Did you guys see the crime circus over the weekend? Just yesterday? I thought it was fantastic. Not quite as good in my opinion as the last one before that, but that's just because I really liked that one before yesterday because it was so cute, so funny. Anyway, I always like to start with my disclaimer. Everything I say is simply my opinion, simply for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion, have an intelligent conversation with you guys because I love you and I love the way you guys think. Um, so yes, Squirrely Burger. I like your little icons. All my videos are made specifically for YouTube, which is an entertainment platform. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe if you feel so inclined. I just want to jump right in, as I always want to do. I don't like to, go on and on with the introductions and all that. Um, did you guys see my community posts over the weekend? I've got an imposter. So kind of annoying, kind of a mixed bag. I honestly have to say that I don't think I would have an imposter if I wasn't onto something, you guys. I don't think anybody would waste their time and effort like that. Good morning, Mrs. Irzaza. Hello, hello. Let me go ahead and um, pin the message. Dana says, yes, I can't believe somebody's trolling you. You know, I am flattered in a really stupid way because like I said, I don't think anybody would be doing that if I wasn't onto something. And you know how I just like to be completely straightforward with you guys. I honestly didn't know if my theories held any water whatsoever. I wouldn't put them out there if I didn't think that it was a possibility, more than a super remote possibility. But as you guys know, I've been very consistent in saying perhaps the criminal defendant is just another Ted Bundy, right? I mean, who's to say? I feel like the last few days have made it abundantly clear that there's a major situation going on over there in Idaho, over there in Moscow with the people in positions of power. And I'll tell you what I think it is. Let me catch up here. Weekend us not the same without jazz for sure. Mine's her like crazy. Oh, that's so cute. I don't know what you're saying with all your misspellings and Z's and everything, but that's good enough for me. Agreed. You're definitely onto something they are not happy about. Good morning, Miss Amir Zaza. You're definitely onto something, ma'am. Trolls don't just come by for no reason. Right. And, they're gaslighters. So we got to remember that too. Um, there's all kinds of trolls, right? There are your random whack job trolls, but they're usually not so organized and diligent. So, trolls are usually for a reason. Absolutely. One sec. Um, so, I really thought that maybe we just had stupid law enforcement over there. But let me just tell you that trolls are a good sign we are on the right path. Let me just tell you, you guys, I'm sure you know this if you're my regular audience members. This ain't my first freaking rodeo. I've been around the block. I tell you again and again, my family background with my granddad, who taught me so much from a very young age without even knowing it. He didn't think I was interested, he didn't think I was paying attention. because, I was a little kid. I was a teenager. And I was into all my kid and teenage stuff. And yeah, I wasn't very interested at the time, but I sure was taking notes. And I've seen it in real life again and again. And it's unfortunate and it's crazy. And until you see it in real life, it is hard to believe. You think this is just stuff of the movies, right? This is just like another John Grisham novel. So I did want to talk too about Kylie Rodney. I'm always wanting to get back to Kylie Rodney. I did not want to take my focus off of Kylie Rodney, even for Trinity Bacchus, but I did. And then I came up with that list of over 70 things that the two had in common. And I was like, gee, I wonder if there's a connection. Seriously, even with 70 things in common, I'm not going to definitively pretend like I know the truth because I don't, right? I mean, I'm very far away. I'm in the state of Ohio, they're in California. The situation in Idaho, I've never even been to Idaho, you guys. I've been to most states. I don't think I've ever been to or through Idaho. So I've heard great things about it, but I've also heard some not great things about it. I mean, the landscape is phenomenal, but then you have situations like what we're looking at. So I really didn't want to get distracted with the Idaho 4. I really thought that it seemed like the craziest situation in the world. Seemed like over the top, over dramatic, overkill, no pun intended. It seemed like too much. I was just like, what the? So I was bound and determined to not focus on it and keep my attention back on the Kylie Rodney case, back with Trinity Bacchus. And then when it became so apparent that there was so much effery, that's what got my interest. So let's see what you guys are saying. Good morning, Justice and everyone. Susan D.A., little pictures have big ears. Yeah. Um, so, there are many ways to, what, 1,000 ways to skin a cat? And that's a pretty sick metaphor to use when we're looking at this Idaho 4 situation. But like I said, I want to refocus on Kylie Rodney. I never wanted to take my focus off of her. And in my heart, I've always got my focus on Kylie Rodney. But I am just so grateful for the folks that continue day to day with their drops, their video drops on the Kylie Rodney case. That case needs resolution. Kylie needs justice. Kylie's our girl, you guys. She was abandoned and betrayed by everybody in Truckee. Everybody. Every single person in Truckee. Has anybody stepped forward and said, damn, we miss Kylie? Has anybody? Anybody. Even her ex-boyfriend. The one who likes to post about her. What a freaking nut. So, these folks there, they think that they've gotten away with it and they'll continue to try. They've got positions in very high-powered positions, and they are master manipulators, master gaslighters, and it's the oldest story in the book, you guys. Going back to those classic movies like Chinatown. If you've watched Chinatown with Jack Nicholson from, what was it, the early 70s, and it takes place in Los Angeles, it's the exact same story, but put a 16-year-old girl in there. It's the exact same story, you guys. No joke. It's the oldest freaking crap in the book. Justice A to Z, family brewer blessings and prayers. Yes. Hey, Mary Thomas. A little late to the game, but catching up. So yeah, I'm not going to make any apologies for the way I do things. And anybody who doesn't like the way I do things, there's so many channels to choose from. I try to be a straight shooter. I'm not really in this for entertainment. I'm not really in this for the likes, the clicks. I have a very ideal full-time job. I have a very full life. This is a passion of mine. Seeking truth and seeking justice has been a passion of mine pretty much my whole life, since my earliest childhood memories when I was 5 years old. Probably had something to do with being raised in Washington, D.C. and hanging out at you know, the Mall of the Americas or whatever we call it, Mall of America. That's just like the street. It's not really a street, but it's what would be a street in most towns that goes straight to the Washington Monument, and it goes by all the Smithsonian museums and all that cool stuff. And it's basically, it's that reflection pond. So it's just like 12 inches deep or less, filled with water, and then you get the full reflection of the um, George Washington Monument. Anyone who hasn't been to DC is missing out. Again, when I was 7 years old, my grandparents took me up into the Statue of Liberty, into the crown with the thing, with the torch. I was 7. That's one of my most astounding memories. And on that same trip, we got to touch the Liberty Bell over there in Pennsylvania. I think that's where it is. I don't know. I was 7. I wasn't driving. Anyway, this is so ingrained in me, you guys. I mean, those things, being inside the Statue of Liberty at such a young age. So it was like 12 times bigger as a little person than it would be if I were to go now, which I've tried to get there to take my kids, but haven't made it yet. Um, and then, going to a Montessori school in Washington, D.C., where we did things like we voted in the presidential election. And I thought my vote was real. I had no idea it wasn't being tallied up for the actual presidential election. Anyway, I am just committed to doing everything that I can to make our country what it is promised to be, the land of the free, the home of the brave. So when you've got corruption in government, which unfortunately you're almost guaranteed to always have corruption in government, it takes that away and it turns our freaking country into a place like Russia or North Korea. God forbid. I'm not going to live in Nazi Germany, United States of America. That's not happening. It's just simply not happening. So, my motto is the same as New Hampshire: live free or die. Freedom is the most important thing in the world. That is what our country is founded on. My grandfather fought in that North Korean war that, lo and behold, it's still happening, right? What was that? 70 years ago? I mean, I'm no historian, but just from my own family history, I could say it was probably more like 80 years ago that he had his injury where he earned his Purple Heart. But other folks in my family too, more currently, more recently. And we don't do this in vain. People dedicate their lives to justice and freedom and take it really seriously. And then you've got these power tripping a-holes that think that they can do whatever they want because they've manipulated the system. And you know what? It will catch up with them. It will. I've seen it happen many times. It will catch up with them. And I don't like to preach, but man, I am really firm. Like when these trolls come out, they're trying to intimidate you. They're trying to get you to stop. But what they're doing is the opposite. They're helping you refine your ideas, your ideology, your skills, and your knowledge. I mean, I really don't like to sound like I'm on a soapbox. I don't know anything more than most people, except for the fact that I've seen things in real life. I've seen it up close. Had I not, looking at a situation like the Kylie Rodney case, looking at a situation like Moscow, I would think people were crazy that were thinking anything different than what the status quo was, than what the party line was. Seriously. Let's see what you guys are saying. Um, Still want to hear from the 300 plus at the party. Surely someone has something to say. Alistair, I love you. Thank you for saying that. That's so funny. Well, what about the millions of tips and the hundreds of videotapes of people making videotapes, right? We had all that. Never seen nothing of it. Makes me wonder what was covered up in the past as well as what will be covered up in the future. And good morning. Hey, Mark, it's been a while. Nice to see you. So, there's always going to be cover-ups. Absolutely. Always going to be cover-ups. People don't like to admit when they made mistakes, and people don't like to take the heat for their mistakes. So they'll come up with any sort of crazy ass story, anything to avoid the truth. And some of that is just a power trip that they just want to have the secret. They don't want anyone else to know what is actually real. So, those are the real narcissistic gaslighters, you guys. And we all know narcissistic gaslighters. We all have been around them. We've all seen them in the media. We see them on YouTube. What's crazy about this whole YouTube thing is that when I know from a lot of the folks that started their YouTube channels with the Chris Watts case, or I always like to say the Shanann Watts case and the Bella, Cece, and Nico Watts case, that there were trolls that came out in full force. And the people that were doing their channels at first didn't expect it and didn't believe it. And when they started to see what was going on and that these were like, the trolls that we're talking about, it took a while for those channels that are very big now. It took a while for them to for it really to sink in. Like they just thought there's just no way. Like why would these powers that be really care so much what these little YouTubers are doing? They do care. They're paying attention. We know that. So if you haven't yet, please go to my community page. And, it was at the end of last week where I took my first screenshot of the imposter that lo and behold, I just happened to spot it 13 minutes after it was posted. And it was deleted within a day. But, I posted my screenshot because that's what you do. That's what we do, right? That's what we do here. We take screenshots of everything. So, okay. Okay, this time pricks a lot of them trolls. I mean, you remind me of really awesome Johnny Cash song, Kicking Against the Pricks, right? It's like a biblical thing. Like you've got to fight the darkness. You don't back down. Again, Tom Petty, you don't back down. You stand your ground. One pic of Kylie at party, please, and the videos of Sammy, Gas, and Toe Guy, Nick. When was Lindsay and Kylie last meeting? Oh my goodness. I've wondered, I want to focus more on the Kylie case, as I said I am. I've wondered if Kylie actually was still alive when the party started, because to me, it seems like that's one of their biggest goals in how they're telling the story is to make sure that the way they tell the story, Kylie gets to that party. So there's no way something could have happened before the party, right? So it just makes me wonder about the timeline. It makes me wonder if something did happen before the party. And then the whole thing with the tow truck guy, thank you for bringing that up. And his story of seeing somebody who looked like Kylie that I'm pretty sure he's 100% under the belief that that was Kylie that he saw the next morning at her car at Boca with who he thought may or may not have been Jägermeister. I don't know. I don't have any doubt that Nick, the tow truck guy, is telling the truth to the best of his ability. I, however, have different opinions of his opinions. Um, I think that that may or may not have been Kylie, that that introduced herself to him as Kylie. And I've always been pretty darn sure that the male was Jägermeister. Um, but in that event that that was Kylie, then obviously things didn't really happen until after that, right? But had things happened before then and that been one of Kylie's frenemies that resembled her and that was trying to figure out what to do with the vehicle. And I mean, what a mess. I mean, these people, and they're all working in conjunction with each other, right? So they're just trying to hide the truth at all costs. And to cost this 16-year-old girl, she wasn't even 17 yet, to cost her her reputation, her life lived in vain. I mean, this was a real person, and she had incredible skill and talent and spirit. I mean, you can see it in pretty much all of her photographs and videos, right? Um, you just don't hurt people, right? I mean, I'm preaching to the choir. That's why you guys are here. We don't believe in hurting people. We don't believe in violence. We don't believe in instigating violence. We don't believe any of that crap. Um, Crime Story Diva, American Princess. Hi, everyone. Thank you for posting a message about someone pretending to be you. It is so weird. Yeah, not what I expected. And, I expected the trolls coming onto the YouTube streets. I mean, you're going to have to thicken your skin, right? I mean, obviously, that's just the internet. That's nothing special to YouTube. That's any social media. Kate, Sammy, Kylie all look close. He never said who they said they were at the van stop. Actually, Mark, I'm pretty sure that in his interview that took place in the parking lot of Best Buy with AWP, I'm pretty sure he actually spoke the words that she introduced herself to me as Kylie. I'm about, in my mind and heart, I'm 100% sure that he did say that. She introduced herself to me as Kylie. Um, but yeah, the whole story, and a lot of people don't believe Nick. A lot of people think that he's some kind of plant. And I mean, I think anybody sounds crazy when they start talking about plants and that C word that I really don't like using. But there are such things. It absolutely can happen, can and does. Squirrels on Fire is taking another look at the celebration of life. Yeah, I saw that she had just posted something about an hour ago, maybe 90 minutes now, and, she's one of the diehards, and like I said, I'm so appreciative of these diehards. Let's see if I can name a few. We got Kevin Neese, we got, CCTV, obviously Squirrels on Fire, and Ara, and Kaz Thinks, and The Imprint, and, Larissa Slaughter, and a handful of others. There's definitely a handful of others that I'm missing. So if anybody wants to give anyone a shout out, please do. But I am just so grateful that they won't give up, that they just stay their course. And I would imagine that there could be some animosity towards me for maybe going off course, but we're all free to do what we want to do. And yeah, Larissa Slaughter, that I said that one, Dana. She's awesome. She is kicking butt. And Casey from Living Lake Time, I don't know if he's back on Kylie's case, but he has been very consistent for sure. Um, So yeah, thanks for the underscore of Larissa. Um, yeah, we just won't give up on this girl. We absolutely won't. And it's the people that are viewing the videos that really makes a difference. If the content creators are making these videos and nobody was watching them, then it wouldn't really make sense to keep making them. So thanks to you guys for watching them. Absolutely. Thanks to you guys. Squirrels on Fire, True Crime and Faith. Thank you, Shanda. Thank you so kindly. And thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for being here, Maud. Have you watched J Rod on point last few video? He alleges that Tony Dodge, Nick, his girlfriend, and Zanime were at the party and Nick showed them how to secure Kylie with the shoulder strap. Um, oh, yes. Truth Tsunami, Squirrels on Fire. So, Fred, I think that that content creator has. Let me just hand the baton to Squirrels on Fire. Care to say anything? I would just not take any of it seriously, honestly. Um, yeah. So, I like to stay positive. All you need is that one word right there. I'm just going to highlight it. I like to stay positive. I certainly don't like to go after other content creators. I will make exceptions on occasion when I think it's really important. And hopping back over briefly to Moscow, I think it's really important to stay focused on that TCT 007 channel that started on Christmas Day. I think that channel is out of control, crazy. And that most likely the content creator, is actually law enforcement and could also be somebody who's committed crimes. So they have been outing themselves. And it's ever since the day that I made that video that has gotten close to 10,000 views now, the one about comparing the voice there to the voice in the video that I call the TikTok blank screen with the cell phone blocking the face. Somebody just gave me a name for that channel. Let's see. And Josco 1972, you guys. JOSCO 1972. I don't know if they've deleted that video, if they've scrubbed that video, but ever since I made the video comparing Josco 1972 to the channel that started itself on Christmas Day, that's when the trolls came out full force. So, these people are fools and they give themselves away. If they just laid low, we wouldn't know. We'd be none the wiser. So when they go batshit crazy, to quote Squirrels on Fire, they really let the cat out of the bag. Good theory. Rambo Squirrel. I almost puked when SOF played Ellen's speech at Kylie's celebration of life. Oh, is this the one that she just did? Is this the one that Shanda just dropped like an hour or two ago? Yeah, it's really hard to listen to that, especially the more that we know. I mean, it was hard to listen to the first time because it sounded sick. It sounded wrong. I guess I need to get a hobby per Lindsay's suggestion. LOL. That's one of my favorites, Fred. It wasn't me who came up with it, but somebody said, Lindsay, get a hobby. May I suggest the hobby of finding justice for your daughter? Yeah, that was very offensive, and it was intended to be offensive. And she was using Kylie as her shield to hide behind. She was like, this is my daughter. Quit talking about her. And I was very hesitant to see her in a bad light because I thought this poor woman lost her kid. And when other content creators were going that direction, I wasn't criticizing them for it because I thought that they were making good points, but I thought, wow, that's got to be hard to do that to a parent, because most of those content creators are parents, and it's not something you want to do. If the parent were innocent, the parent probably would be okay with being hung out to dry in the search for truth and justice. I know I would be. If I was a parent and there was some horrible thing that happened like that, I wouldn't care, balls to the walls, all costs, get to the truth. I don't care if you make me look bad in the meantime. Seriously. Seriously. Like, what else matters other than protecting your kids? What else matters? So, yeah, that response, that visceral response of vomiting when you get really stressed out and when things are just so wrong. I totally understand that. Parker 87, how odd Lindsay Neiman doesn't call Kylie her daughter. Wow. Well, I heard her say it like in the celebration of life where she goes and addresses the social media, like you're at your kid's funeral. Like, why in the world are you addressing social media and so harshly with such a razor sharp tongue? Again, look at a family like the Petitos. They know that social media is a double-edged sword, but they want everybody's help to get to the truth. And they are willing to take the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes with accessing that channel. LRN definitely deserves some light shown on her. Puke fest. I was like, not knowing the initials for a moment. Yeah. Yep. Yes, she does. Squirrels on fire. I'm enjoying zooming and pointing out people. Good job. I love it. I absolutely love it. I worry about her brother, Fred Field. 100%. She's got this little half brother who's probably around 8 or 9, who um, really isn't safe in that house, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Community's daughter. Yeah, disgusting. Um, it's like she gave her away, right? I do as well. Who was in the the hat circle? Who was in the circle, squirrels on fire by the tree with what looks like a big white gown of some sort? I believe that might be Summer. Um, the boyfriend, Francis's mother, Summer, the boyfriend of Trinity's mom. Is that right? I'm sure that Squirrels knows. Let's see. I'm gonna highlight that one and then try to get caught up to all these messages here, all these comments. Curious if Purple Dress Girl is Kylie's sister or daughter, but I'm trying to ask it with public media documents. No idea. I'm pointing out things I want to know. Ellen said a child, not my child. Oh, yes, a child and Community's daughter. Did you see Scammy in her inappropriate dress and Rory? Yeah, that white dress that I'm gonna guess she doesn't have any undergarments on with it either, and it's like riding up and so low cut. It's ridiculous. And then she's got those white sunglasses on her head looking like a tiara, the sunglasses that are shaped like hearts that she's then wearing in one of her many crazy ass videos. Yeah. So let's see. Who was in that circle with the big gown? Um, and yeah, what's Francis's last name? And Summer Fowler, right? Francis Fowler, Summer Fowler. Is the white dress woman, is that Summer Fowler or not? Do you know, Squirrels? Let's see. Where are we at? Oh, I hated that dress. I hated seeing her in that dress. And Typing too fast, sorry. Fowler, thank you, Rambo Squirrel. Yes, I'm so happy when my brain works. It's one of the reasons I love doing this YouTube channel is because it makes my brain work more better. So, I think we're all getting that digital dementia, aren't we? I mean, how do you not? It's just nuts. It's bad for our eyesight too. Um, Yuck. Sammy and friends looked like they were going to the club, didn't they? Trashy. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely insane. And let me take this opportunity to point out and underscore again. We cannot point this out and underscore this enough. The absence of Kate Cuneo at that celebration of life. Kate Cuneo, however you say her name, I think it's Cuno. People always say it wrong. People always spell it wrong. But Kate Kuno or Cuneo, however the heck you say her name, that was sleeping with Jägermaestro, stabbing Kylie in the back, forgot to come to her freaking quote unquote celebration of life. And her uncle is a deputy sheriff in Sacramento County. So remember, we had like 8 kids at the alleged party whose family members were in law enforcement, like the El Disgusto Sheriff Wu's kid, one of the half a dozen Nates. I mean, how many Nates did we have in that case? Oh man, the Nates and the Nicks. And then yeah, it's weird how that keeps happening in these cases, huh? Like with, again, going back over to Moscow, and everybody there is named Jack. Like, what? Do you guys have any other names? Or Brett or Brent, right? She was out of the country making creme brulee. Oh my God. Squirrels, I love you, girlfriend. That is the best. That is the best. Too funny. And we gotta laugh. We gotta laugh with all this heartbreak and tragedy. Seriously. It's not right. All these kids get privileges there. Yeah, all these spoiled little brats. Cream brulee. So yeah, why were Jägermaestro and Kate in Reno? Looking for her in Reno. Why did Sammy say somebody's got to go to Reno? Oh, you'll do it? Great. As she was orchestrating the search. Like, what law enforcement lets anybody do that? You're going to have a sergeant or somebody in a very high rank in the police department, an employee of the public safety department that is going to orchestrate the grid and the sign up and all the organizing around the search. And then remember that map where they put up like stay out of this area? We have this giant wood, stay out of that area. I'm sure literally that's where their growth operation was, right? And probably where they were hiding her. Oh, Mags looks blank-eyed stoned since the incident happened. I used to think that Mags was the only one that really cared, but I don't think she cares. I think that she felt bad, as she should, as they all should. So she was the only one with a conscience. But if she had a conscience, she would have come clean by now. So screw her. Screw them all. I know she feels some type of way. Aaron says, I'm so excited. I never actually catch a live. Yay. Good morning, warriors. I'm always here, just a quiet one. So Aaron, Estes Park. I've never been to Estes Park. I've been to some places in Colorado, and I have friends that have been to Estes Park and say it is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I know about, what was it, 10 years ago? There were 2 people that got struck by lightning and died there like within 24 hours of each other in the exact same spot. We could do a show on that, couldn't we? Are you familiar with that, Erin of Estes Park? If she cared, she would have ratted people out. I think she lied about the massive bong rips and leaving after 10 minutes. I think she lied about everything. Everything. And yeah, her boyfriend too. Like they're just sick little scum. Like good luck with your life, man. It's not going to work out well. Oh man, look at how the light is just flooding in. Too funny. Like I'm just like one big pasty white blob now. So nothing I can really do about it without getting up. And I mean, I could, but what a hassle. And I'd probably kick everything over. I'll just try to not worry about it. We used to go to the YMCA of the Rockies Estes every other year as a kid. Group effort lies and alibis. I like that, lies and alibis. I do believe that in its entirety she lied. Yeah, I think everything about the whole Kylie incident is a lie. You know, just like in the Trinity Bacchus case, I think all that's a freaking lie. That remember that like mile long post that fake Auntie Ashley, suspect number one, put on Facebook where she explained how she was making Christmas posters at her friend's house at 4 o'clock. That's where the story started. And then it ended with like Trinity braiding hair on her dolls or something. I mean, it was so whack. Wow. So you guys, now you can see why I call light my enemy when making content, when making videos. It is so funny. So funny. And I didn't think I needed a blackout curtain, but live and learn, right? Always good to just have be on the safe side, the just in case. Let's see. What else we got here? It's magical. Estes Park is magical. Well, and that area where those two people got struck by lightning, the one person that passed away on the first day, there were three people in her party that got struck by lightning, but she was the only one who passed away. And then within 24 hours, it was a man who got struck by lightning. I want to say the trailhead is like Rainbow Ridge or something like that. And they had incidences like that, but I don't think anybody had passed away from a lightning strike there in somewhere around 20 years. And then it happened 2 days in a row, like almost exactly 24 hours apart. That was about 10 years ago, I think. Again, I don't know if you're familiar, Aaron. I'll look it up and maybe put a community post. Um, because yeah, it was pretty wild how it had been so long and then that happened. Good morning, Sherry. Yes, that changed 4 times in 2 days. Um, the stories, the stories of what was going on with Mags and the freaking bong rips. I like the lighter lighting better. Oh, you do? See, I like it nice and dark, but yeah, it is nice to be able to see all the cool stuff. Like I get all this cool stuff and then it's so dark you can hardly see any of it, right? But I'm like getting more that more together. One question I've still not heard answered: did Nick Tow Truck ever confirm license plate or VIN? Because for sure can rule out car and water that night. Kylie, a separate issue. So, Nick was dogged by his employer and he quit because his employer tried to gaslight him too and say, you were never there, right? Trinity's not aunt story changed 4 times in 2 days. Thank you, squirrels. Yeah. And again, the connection here, you guys, with the OnlyFans. OnlyFans was something that I had never actually even heard of until the Trinity Bacchus case. And then it's come up again in the Idaho 4. That OnlyFans is a multi-billion dollar annual multi-billion dollar company. And I feel like that is being protected above all else. Like in the Idaho 4, OnlyFans is being protected even more than the Greek system, the sororities and the fraternities. Um, if you haven't yet, Google OnlyFans and sororities. It's mind boggling. It is absolutely mind-boggling. And you know I say it again and again, I don't believe everything that Google tells me, but Google is like hell-bent about that. So, Google could be incorrect. Google could be misinforming. I have so much dirt I need to unload on Trinity case, specifically pics. Really? So my curiosity, thank you, squirrels, is if so we know that Trinity's mother and Ashley had their OnlyFans pages. If Trinity had an OnlyFans page and she's underage, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. And then if maybe Miss Kylie had an OnlyFans underage, maybe this is a big thing there too. My guess is that it would be because people like that have no morals, no ethics. They'll do anything for the almighty dollar, and they don't care. They don't care to protect their children as long as they're getting their cash cow. Like, why even give your kid a name? Just name them meal ticket, right? So, not that I know of on the underage OnlyFans. So, again, it's just an if. If Trinity had ever been on a photograph with her mom or Ashley or anybody else, just an if. Um, that would be very explosive, you guys. That would be extremely explosive. And that would shut down the multi-billion dollar company. It really would. However, I still want to know who took picture of Trinity in the wet see-through white dress. Oh, I don't think I've seen that photo, squirrels. I do not think I've seen that photo. But yeah, that whole last day of her life on record is so tragic and so suspicious. And her autopsy is so suspicious, her cause of death, all of it. Them saying that there's nothing suspicious about a 16-year-old dropping dead. Yeah, right. Many have they just didn't realize what they were seeing. Oh, interesting. The white dress. Eesh. Yeah, one of my least favorite photos of her is where she's with her mother and younger siblings and what looks like, I think, an uncle. And he's holding her thighs. Oh, and she's wearing a bikini. I think they're all wearing their bathing suits. And this guy, who I believe is her uncle, I believe it's her mother's brother, is holding her thighs in the most disgusting way. Like, it's just wrong. Hey, Nico, thanks for being here again, mods and everybody. Trinity was drowned. No, actually, Trinity was hypothermia, is what they said. But yeah, they I was gonna say they put her in a creek. They found her in a creek under some bramble. Um, yeah. So Trinity, Nico, you say Trinity, yes, industry. You think that Trinity was part of that industry? And Fred Field says joking. Um, oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I thought you just maybe were misremembering. Right. And again, Kylie drowned. Drowned. Remember how for months we were all saying on YouTube that when the autopsy comes out, if there's no water in her lungs, we know that she passed prior to getting put in the water. If there's water in her lungs, that will prove that she drowned. Pretty simple. So there was no water in her lungs. Cause of death, they say, is drowning. And we all forgot, you guys. I mean, not completely, but that's just where the gaslighting comes in. People want to put their faith into an autopsy and into a coroner and into these officials that If we can't trust these officials, it's a pretty dangerous world we live in. And let me tell you, we can't trust some of these officials, and it's a pretty dangerous world we live in. Okay. Make no bones about it. Like, this is a really good example of that. And looking at these situations where you've got a sheriff who's the coroner and the public administrator of the county, that's the way it's set up in California, so that all of these counties, all of these rural areas, your sheriff is your coroner, is your public administrator. It makes it really easy for corruption. It makes it really easy. And then you take a town like Moscow and you take a police chief and you hire his wife as your financial director for your city, and then she becomes the elected clerk of courts. There's your power couple right there. That's your conflict of interest. Most cities would never, ever hire a police chief's wife to be in a position like financial director. Most cities would say, hell no, bad idea. Absolutely a bad idea. So it makes it a lot like this setup in the counties of rural California. Trinity passed from hypothermia running through woods with no wounds on the bottom of her feet. I know. Just ridiculous. I remember the white dress picture. I remember two people passed from lightning strikes about 10 years ago. Yeah, Aaron, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And they were almost 24 hours apart to the minute. It was pretty wild, pretty wild. So the first one was a female, and then the following day it was a guy. And they were almost in the exact same place on that. I think it was called the Rainbow Ridge Trailhead. So I'll have to look that up. What that coroner, who knows? Oh my goodness, Fred, are you talking about Mabbit? Ugh, she is just a pile of garbage, in my humble opinion, equivalent to drowning on air. Right, exactly, squirrels, exactly. 10 years ago, and somebody else was struck 2 or 3 years ago, but was okay. That's some crazy stuff that happens up there. Yeah, definitely, absolutely. I know that the storms just come rolling in so quick. It can be a nice day, and all of a sudden the sky just goes black. So some people probably don't realize that, or they just get caught out there, and it's not good. Trinity and Kylie's autopsies were a joke. Stephen Smith's is more like real autopsies I've read. Oh, the Stephen Smith case is so sad. Like, thank goodness that family is probably going to get some justice now. I can't imagine having something like that happen to your loved one and then having to fight that uphill battle against a family like the Murdochs, right? Duty Ron expert said the drowning was due no other cause evident since in water drowning. Well, see, and that's how they do it. That's like old school mafia stuff, Fred Field. And again, that movie, Chinatown. If somebody is found in the water, they've drowned. That's just like a no-brainer. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. Like, that's why they just throw them in the river, typically, because that's your cause of death. If there's water, that's your cause of death. It doesn't matter that they've been shot or beaten or whatever, poisoned. Several years ago, a park ranger vanished and was never seen again from a popular trailhead up there. Oh, how sad. Ew. I remember, that harkens back to the Yosemite case, right? That disgusting guy, Casey, who unalived the two teenage girls and their mother that he got access to at their hotel. And then he got access to a park ranger out there in the wilderness. Really, really scary. Like, that's a whole crazy story. And that guy, Casey, you guys know who I'm talking about, right? His brother had been abducted when he was a teenager. And so his whole life was really bizarre, but really, really sick what he did to the mother, the two girls. One was her daughter, and I think one was a cousin. And then, and this was like 30 years ago. If anybody knows anything about it and wants to type in something so it's not so abstract. Um, so one of his victims was a park ranger out there in Yosemite. And now we know what Yosemite means. I mean, from the Gabby Petito case, right? With the fake text to her mother that said no service in Yosemite. I had no idea what Yosemite meant. Um, Really weird. Wondering if anyone else has looked into the theory of Tom Hanks. I'm sorry to laugh. I have no idea, none whatsoever. Yeah, and it's like I don't like to get into the weeds. I mean, this stuff can so quickly go sideways and careen out of control. Um, yeah, I mean, it was pretty weird that Zuckerberg was out there, boots on the ground, looking for her, right? Pretty effing weird. So, wow, we are already at 56 minutes, you guys. So, I'm going to go ahead and wrap. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being here. It was a long weekend without you. Thanks for joining me. And like I said, please go to the community posts if you haven't yet. I'm curious what people think about that. And, you know, I mean, just keep on trucking, and take care of yourself. Have a really good Monday. Hopefully, you're getting the start of a very productive work week with really good self care, staying hydrated. I have to confess, I have not stayed well hydrated over the weekend. This is why I remind you of these things every video, because I have to remind myself. And if I remind you guys, I hold myself more accountable. So eat your veggies, high protein, get your exercise, chillax, don't stress out, treat yourself well, be kind to others, be kind to yourself, be forgiving of others and forgiving of yourself. Just put your best foot forward and fight for peace. Even though it sounds like counterintuitive, oxymoron, you have to fight for peace, right? That's just life. Got sent home 2 hours early again today. All right, you guys, I'm going to say peace out. And again, hit that like button if you would be so kind and you haven't yet. Share and subscribe if you feel like it. And I will see you on the next one. Have a really good rest of your day and happy Monday. Oh, rainbow curve, 24 hours apart. Yep, that was 2014. So sad. It could happen anytime. The beauty up there definitely has its dangers. Thank you, Erin. That is so awesome that you looked that up. So 9 years. It was 9 years ago. And then, wow, wow, wow. All right, you guys. Thanks again and have a fabulous day. Sending you light, sending you love. Thanks so much for joining me. See you soon.